Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to another episode of GEEXX Watch. Today I'd like to talk about Season 1 of Carnival Row. This is an Amazon Prime original, and it's been out for a while. Season 2 was actually just released a couple of months ago, so I'm a bit behind on the times. I've only watched Season 1, and I just only finished watching it recently. The premise of the show is it takes place in an alternate reality England, which the main city is basically called the Burg, which I guess is their equivalent of London. I'm not sure. But it's around the steam era. I would have to guess late 1800s, early 1900s, like somewhere between, like, based on the technology that we see, somewhere between 1880 and 1920. Probably not later than 1920 is probably pushing it. I'd probably say close to 1910. But probably pushing more towards late 1800s. I'm probably getting too technical. One of the main characters is played by Orlando Bloom, which everyone knows. He plays Inspector Philo, working for the Burgish police as an inspector or detective. We also have in the picture Vignette Stonemoss, who is a pixie, or pix as they are called, sometimes called Critch. In this world, the Fae are real. There are pixies with wings. There are pucks, which are more like satyrs. I recently realized that Puck is the name of the satyr in Midsummer Night's Dream. So I guess that's where they got the name Puck from. They have goat horns and hooves. There's also some centaurs. There's kobolds, which are little tiny people. They're also werewolves, which they call Marok. The Marok. Well, the Marok is actually from Arthurian legend. The Green Knight was the Marok. So they've taken some liberties. Most of the Fae come from an island, Tirnanock, which is from Celtic mythology. Land of the Fae, which is, I thought it was pronounced Tirnanog, not Tirnanock. But again, I'm probably getting too technical. The series episode starts with, there's like a string of murders, which I'm guessing is kind of meant to hint at Jack the Ripper. It's not done that badly, though. They do wind up catching them fairly quickly, though. You think by the second episode. But then some other murders start happening, so, and no one quite knows sure where that's going with that. So there's, a lot of mystery in season 1, because you don't know who's doing, there's obviously murders going on. We're being introduced to the characters of the series. So there's a lot to learn, not just the murder mystery stuff. There's also multiple storylines going on. There's Philo and Vignette, which is evident from the picture, and a lot of the promotional material had the two of them together. Philo is also kind of in a relationship with his landlady, whose name is Portia, I think. So there's kind of that relationship going on, but there's other stuff going on. Like Philo has his, the stories and interaction with his police co-workers, I guess you'd say. Vignette, as part of the Fae, has like her little circle of stuff going on, but their stories obviously intertwine. But then, in addition to that, there is the Breakspears, who is, his name is Jonas Breakspear, I think, who is basically the prime minister. He's the head of the government. He's got a rivalry with, other factions in the government. His wife, Piety, who's very ambitious for him and their son. Their son's name is Jonah. He is a wealthy deadbeat. He spends all his days gambling and drinking and visiting houses of ill repute on the Row, which is where, it's a Fae house where he should not be, where a person of his distinguished character should not be seen, but he's there all the time. So there's that storyline going on. There is another storyline going on with Ezra Spurnrose his sister Imogen Sprinrose, and their new next door neighbor, a wealthy puck named Agrias. He wants to get into, he has an immense amount of wealth, which is unusual for any of the Fae, and he basically wants an introduction to high society. He feels he has earned his wealth and his status in society and wants to be treated as such. So there's all these storylines going on, and they do interact a bit. Some of them only loosely. For example, Sprinrose. Ezra Sprinrose is a wealthy, not rich, but fairly well off member of society. He owns, he has investments in shipping companies. Vignette is on one of the ships that crashes into the shores of England, and she is the only survivor. And it, basically, Ezra had a lot of money invested in that shipment, so they are in financial dire straits a bit. So that's how that connection goes. And there are others. Vignette's friend works at the house in the row that Jonah Breakspear goes to. So again, little bits and pieces that interconnect, not strongly in some ways. And you learn how these stories interconnect as the series goes on. This was actually fairly well received. I'm surprised it didn't get more attention. It's actually pretty well done. It's well acted. It's well directed. The storyline's actually pretty good. What kept me coming back was the characters and their interactions. In spite of the fanciful setting, there's not really much in the way of magic. There is some, but not a lot. It's pretty, limited. No fireballs and stuff like that. But I found the people's relationships with each other were very realistic and fairly well done and believable. There's a lot of prejudice in this story, against the Fae, the Puck, the Pix, the Critch, whatever they call them. They have lots of slurs for them. And it kind of mirrors, the racism between black people and white people, and that kind of thing, especially of that era. So there is that. I mean, especially, there's the wealthy Puck who wants to be part of high society. When Imogen first sees him moving in, she is just aghast. She's, just offended that one of those people is living in their neighborhood, and they're forced to deal with them and interact with them. And she kind of, she tries to fake it and put on a good face and pretend, for the sake of appearances, to be nice to him. And her brother doesn't even bother to do that, really. I mean, he somewhat does, but he's obviously prejudiced and obviously looks down on this other person, looks down on Agrias because he's not human, in spite of the fact that he's far wealthier than they are. It doesn't matter, they don't like him. And so other people treat him that way too. Then you've got, Vignette as a Fae, as a Pix. She has to deal with prejudice as well. She wants to find, honest work just to support herself. She doesn't want to, resort to selling herself like her friends have done. She wants an honest job. And Philo is one of the few few humans that we see in the story treat the Pix and the other Fae with respect and dignity. Of course we do. He's Orlando Bloom. You can't have him be a jerk, prejudiced and, like everyone, and racist like everyone else is. But, there's some real touching moments between him and his landlady. He has secrets he doesn't want to tell, and she wants to be part of his life and tries to get him to open up, and he refuses. And I feel bad for her. She really cares about him and really wants to be close to him. And he just, he just shuts her out because he doesn't want to share his secrets. And not that he treats her badly, but he does keep parts of himself closed off from her. there's some real human moments there, some real touching moments there. Not just those two, but with him and Vignette and him and his, and there's some touching moments, but with the other characters too. I mean, not so much with the Prime Minister and his wife and their son. There's a few, but they come a bit later in the season, not as much at the beginning. His Piety is a piece of work. She's very ambitious, but plays it down in front of other people. But secretly, you see she's super ambitious. I just think this was just a fun thing to watch. I'm surprised more people didn't watch it. I see other stuff people recommend me watch. I'm like, it's no better than this. It's no worse than this either. But this is a good show, and I really liked it. I'm surprised more people didn't watch it. If you like half the fantasy stuff on Netflix and Amazon Prime, and so this is on Amazon Prime, if I didn't mention that earlier, I would recommend this. It's not necessarily a fun show. It is kind of graphic in certain areas, violence and some not safe for work content as well. I do think some of the not safe for work content is a bit gratuitous. Not a lot. It does sort of fit the scene, but I do think some of it is just, for titillating purposes, just, hey, look, TNA, watch us. That said, it's not too bad, and it generally suits the scene. I just think they might have toned up the luridness a bit more than, just to get, just keep people watching. Hey, you want to see more of this? Watch our show. It's still not that bad. You can't watch this at work though. There is some gore, and there is some sexual content. I know I kind of dance around the vocabulary there, but I worry about, I'm promoting this at work, and also YouTube algorithms can be kind of touchy. I don't want this thing, striked for something I've said that I probably shouldn't have. Anywho, I would definitely give this like for quality, pretty much like an A-. There's just a few things that are keeping it from me rating it higher. I felt it dragged a bit at places, but it is a lot of fun, and I really did like it, and I would recommend it. As always, thanks for watching. If you like this video, I don't know what to tell you. Torture yourself with my other crap. And until next time, good hunting.